Hey everybody, my name is Spencer and I'm here to talk to you about the game Sleeping Gods from Red Raven Games. In this video, I'm going to tell you what the game's all about, who the game is for, and ultimately if you should spend your hard-earned, or gifted, or stolen money on it. Before I do, please subscribe to the Lighten Up Initiative for more reviews, top 10s, and comedy sketches. In fact, when this video is over, go back and check out my Sleeping Gods First Impressions video and see if my opinion has changed at all. Also, I try to incorporate as much humor as I can into a script, but it's minimal in this script, because this is a pretty serious subject. Alright, let's wake up some gods. Sleeping Gods is a cooperative campaign game for 1 to 4 players. More on that player count later. It's the year 1929 when players become the crew of the steamship the Manticore. Unfortunately, on their journey, they've wandered a little too far to find themselves in the wandering sea. Nah, it's the gods' fault. They brought them to this place of unfamiliar and exotic star patterns. Well, something happens and the gods all go sleepy by, and through some initial plot points, players discover that in order to return to the world of normal, they must get those narcoleptic gods to wake up. The only way to do this is by collecting mysterious and powerful totems and delivering them to the gods, who, you know, are sleeping. The crew is led by Captain Sophie Odessa. Did you know Odessa is a town in Texas? Of course you did. Joining her are 8 other diverse crew members who each have their own set of skills and specialties. In fact, you'll find that one of the main elements of the game is discovering how to use each character effectively and efficiently to complete challenges and fight strange monsters and corrupt people. Now, it's important for me to note that when you play this game, you always play with all 9 characters. Player count doesn't matter. You just assign characters to each player evenly. Playing solo? Well, you must account for all the characters by yourself. Now, this is the first point that might have an impact on your buying decision. Is that too much for you or your group to handle? Well, I found the challenges in combat, though difficult to succeed, aren't difficult to approach with a large number of characters. You choose which character or characters to partake in the action, draw a fate card, and then combine the skills from the characters with the fate number on the card. You want to be equal to or higher than the challenge difficulty or the monster defense. If you do, you succeed. It's a process that I find simple to understand even when using multiple characters. So, in my opinion, I don't think you should be too concerned with using so many characters. For reference, I don't find it any more challenging than playing a game of Mansions of Madness solo, or Gloomhaven with a low player count. Next, let's talk about the campaign aspect of the game. First of all, you can play at 2 difficulties. In normal mode, if all of your crew members have their health reduced to 0, or the Manticore gets destroyed, then you'll have to start at the nearest port with some disadvantages. When playing on brutal mode, and those things happen, then the game immediately ends and you have to start all over. You lose. I find the Sleeping Gods campaign to be unique, or at least compared to other campaign games I've played or am even aware of. Essentially, what happens is you start the game and then you just play until you're ready to stop. There aren't scenarios or chapters. You just play for an hour or 2, pause the story, and come back whenever you're ready to continue. Each session can last as long as you want it to. But this brings me to something else I should mention. Component-wise, there's a lot of Sleeping Gods. It takes up quite a bit of table space. I think most people won't have the luxury of leaving the game out on the table and just dropping in whenever convenient. The rulebook does provide a method of saving the game for you to put away and set up at another time. In fact, there's this journey log here where you can mark down your status and then a map on the back to mark down any notes that you have. There are also helpful storage boxes and bags to kind of organize everything, but it takes a little bit of time to do all of that. But for me, I find that the game is worth it. When I played, I would play as much as I could, then pack it up only whenever I had to. The game is also technically divided into 3 sections, so you could theoretically play a section per session. You start the game with an event deck of 18 cards, all increasing in difficulty. On each turn, a player will do a ship action, draw an event card, and then perform 2 actions. Once the event deck runs out, you'll face a pretty difficult challenge, after which, once resolved, you'll create a new event deck of 18 cards. You'll repeat this process one more time until you've gone through 54 event cards. Then you'll have a unique ending dependent on the events that unfold during the game. So how long does a campaign take? Well, like I said, you'll go through 54 event cards. But don't get me wrong, the game is so immersive that turns don't simply feel like you're just drawing a card to make progress through the game. It's more detailed and has depth. Turns may take 5 minutes or they may take 20. It's all dependent on what's unfolding in the story. Now for me, in all, I put in 8 to 10 hours on the first campaign. Note how I said first campaign. To get the most out of the game and your money, you'll be playing multiple campaigns. There's just so much to explore and encounter in this game. You can't possibly do and see it all in one campaign. It's a massive open world atlas game, which means each page of the atlas represents a small section of the wandering sea you can explore. When you reach the edge of a page and you want to continue in the same direction, you simply turn to a new page and sail onward. It's also a storybook game. Whenever you visit a new location on the atlas, you'll encounter wild adventure, hidden treasures, and vivid characters. And you don't just read the stories, you actually get to experience the characters and the plot of the game. I think one of my favorite elements of the game is the quest system. When you complete an encounter, you might receive a new quest. You may need to travel to another location, pick up an item, and bring it back. You might pick up a quest or two while another is in progress. Now think of it as a video game RPG. It's open world, you meet characters who ask you to do things, and the more you explore, you'll complete and gain quests, and you'll have several quests active at one time. By several, I mean 7, 8, 9, just depending on how you choose to approach your campaign. But in all likelihood, you will not finish all the quests you start, which means you have to play the campaign again if you'd like to see how they end. Honestly, I didn't even realize that was the case until I started playing. And while in theory I don't want to play a campaign game multiple times, this is the exception. I've played through it by myself once, and I'd do it again. In fact, I wanted to start a new campaign as soon as I was done with the first. The story and the experience leaves you wanting more, and more. You just can't get enough of it. Another thing that keeps you wanting to come back to the Wandering Sea is this achievement sheet. You can try to check off all these items if you're a completionist like me, and sometimes you'll even unlock new cards that will help you with your next campaign. Again, let me reiterate, you need to play multiple campaigns to experience all the game has to offer. So maybe that's a deciding factor for you. Do you want a campaign game that you need to play multiple times? For my next campaign, I decided to wait until I can play through it with my wife. However, here's a neat thing. Players can drop in and out at any time. So technically I could start and she could drop in whenever she's ready. If you're playing with a group and someone is unable to finish the campaign, they can leave without it affecting really anything except the dynamic of the team. Now let me start to wrap up this review by quickly noting a few things. First of all, mechanically, the game is sound. I love how combat works. It's unique, challenging, and interesting. I did have some trouble with the rulebook. All the information you need is there, just sometimes not where you'd think it would be. And there are a few obscure rules that are hard to remember, so you'll need to take advantage of the rules summary sheet pretty often. I'd be remiss, whatever that word means, if I didn't at least acknowledge the immersive and masterful artwork. It draws you into this strange world. And the writing is top-notch. All the characters feel real, you'll feel threatened, laugh, and sometimes go, huh? Plus, you truly feel part of the action in this adventure. Choices matter in this game a great deal, and you'll have plenty of them. You really do have to consider your options before continuing. You may end up with a pouch full of coins, or a room full of monsters. And overall, there's just a nice flow to everything. So let's bring everything back to the things that matter most. Who is this game for? Well, gamers who are interested in a huge open-world sandbox to play in. Want to do anything you want or go anywhere you want to go? This is the game for you. It's also for those who like diverse characters, immersive story, and a ton of content to explore. It's not for gamers who can't commit to a several hours long campaign. I don't recommend it for people who can't commit to multiple campaigns either. You just can't enjoy the game for what it is without that commitment. This is the biggest factor. Time. How much do you got, and how much do you want to invest? It's also not for people who get frustrated by failure. The game can get pretty difficult, and you will fail at times. It may even feel impossible occasionally. Sometimes the consequences aren't too terrible, but other times the results may completely throw off your plans and may even be the deciding factor in how the game ends for you. So, finally, should you buy it? For me, the answer is a resounding yes. The positives of the game far outweigh any negatives the game has. Plus, with the amount of content the game has to experience, you'll get your money's worth and then some. It's really the experience that matters here, and I have to say, having just played one campaign, it was one of the best gaming experiences I've had in my 10 years of hobby gaming. I like it better than Gloomhaven. I like it better than Pandemic Legacy Season 1. In fact, Sleeping Gods is now my #1 game of all time. Will you have the same result? Well, I hope you do. I want other people to have the same experience that I did. I can't wait to do more playthroughs with my friends and my wife. And coming from someone who doesn't usually play games solo, I'm eager to play through this solo again as well. I have to hand it to the Red Raven Games team. This game was a massive undertaking. The sheer amount of writing had to have taken years to develop. Add in the playtesting of the mechanics, which myself was a part of, the art, the production. This is something truly special that only a 5-star publisher is capable of. I don't give out many awards because very few games are deserving of the top honor from Lighten Up, but Sleeping Gods is. So, what else can I say but This game is lit. I look forward to many more campaigns of Sleeping Gods. I will keep it around for years to come, and especially look forward to when I can experience it with my daughters. It is my hope that you will enjoy your plays as much as I have mine. I could go on. I could write 4 more pages of this script, but my hands are getting really tired. Actually, that isn't applicable when I'm reading from the teleprompter. Plus, I have other videos and content to get out for you. And speaking of content and you, how about you subscribe to the Lighten Up Initiative? And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like. Let me know in the comments how you sleep. On your side, on your back, in a hammock. Personally, I sleep on a Casper mattress and I switch back and forth between my back and side. Until next time, don't take the board game hobby too seriously, just lighten up.